The bus pass. The bus had reached the end of Route 16, and Arthur Bennett was the only passenger who had not stood up. The young driver looked at him through the wide rearview mirror. He had the face of someone still trying to do the job correctly, still worried about missing something obvious. "Sir," he called back, "this is the last stop." Art kept his eyes on the window. Outside, the bus bay sat in the white Tucson morning, all concrete glare and thin shadows. A woman with a blue backpack crossed toward another route. A man in work boots leaned against a pole and ate from a paper bag. The bus sighed under him, engine low, doors open, waiting. "I know," Art said. The driver turned a little in his seat. "You getting off here?" "In a minute." There was no reason for the driver to argue. Not yet. Art could hear him decide that. The small pause, the breath through the nose, the shift of his hand back to the wheel. Art had learned to hear those things. He looked down at the canvas grocery bag on his lap. It folded flat against his knees. Empty except for a newspaper he had already read twice and a shopping list from 3 weeks ago. Milk, bananas, coffee filters. He had bought all 3 the day he wrote it. The driver checked the mirror again. Art gave him a mild smile, the kind that said there was nothing to see here. Just an old man taking his time. Just a harmless delay. The driver looked away first. Art Bennett was 71 years old, a retired city electrical repairman, and he had lived alone in his small Tucson house since his wife died 2 years earlier. His daughter, Claire, lived 20 minutes away with a husband, 2 children, a job in a medical office, and the kind of calendar that always seemed to be apologizing. Art did not tell her he was lonely. He put on a clean shirt most mornings, took his canvas bag, and rode Route 16 as if there were still some place in the city expecting him. That morning began like every other morning, except someone had looked at him a little too long. When the driver finally shut the doors and pulled the bus around to begin the return loop, Art stayed in the same seat. 3rd row on the right, not too close to the driver, not so far back that people might think he was sleeping. The route took them past a Walgreens, a pawn shop, 2 tire places, a church with a banner advertising a pancake breakfast, and a strip mall where the old hardware store had become a discount furniture place. Art knew which turns made the bus lean hard. He knew where the road roughened near the drainage dip. He knew the stop where a woman with silver hair usually got on with a green lunch cooler, though today she did not appear. People came and went. A young mother lifted a stroller with one hand and a toddler with the other. A man in scrubs talked into his phone about somebody switching shifts. 2 teenagers got on laughing too loudly, then went quiet when they saw how many adults were looking at them. Art watched all of it without staring. He had become good at being near people without asking anything of them. At Grant Road, the bus filled for 5 stops. A man sat beside him, smelling faintly of cigarette smoke and spearmint gum. He nodded once. Art nodded back. That was enough. More than enough, really. A full conversation would have required follow-up. Follow-up led to questions. Questions led to where are you headed, and Art disliked lying when the truth would have sounded stranger. The man got off near the clinic. His warmth left the seat slowly. Art folded the newspaper, unfolded it, and read the headline without taking in a word. At the next stop, the driver glanced back again. New driver, Art thought. The regular ones knew not to ask. By the time the bus returned to the stop nearest his neighborhood, it was almost noon. Art stepped down carefully, not because he needed help, but because he hated when people prepared to offer it. The driver waited until both his feet were on the curb before closing the door. Art lifted one hand in thanks. The bus pulled away. For a moment, he stood with his empty bag at his side and watched it go. Heat came up from the pavement. A landscaper's blower whined somewhere behind the houses. Across the street, a dog barked twice and gave up. Art walked home. His house was beige stucco with faded green trim and one stubborn mesquite tree out front. The neighborhood had been quiet when he and Linda bought the place 38 years ago. But it had been a different kind of quiet then. Kids on bikes, garage radios. Neighbors hosing down driveways at dusk. Now the quiet waited indoors. He unlocked the front door and took longer than necessary, removing the key. Inside, the air held the faint smell of dust, old coffee, and lemon cleaner. He had cleaned the counters before leaving. He always did. It gave him something to return to that looked intentional. He set the canvas bag on the kitchen chair. Empty. He took out the newspaper anyway and placed it on the table. Then the old grocery list. He smoothed it with 2 fingers, as if it mattered. The TV remote sat beside Linda's ceramic fruit bowl. The bowl was ugly, yellow with painted grapes around the rim, and he had never liked it. She had loved it. For that reason, it had survived 3 kitchen cleanouts and 1 argument about clutter. Art picked up the remote and turned on the television. A cooking show filled the room with bright voices. He lowered the volume until the words became a soft blur. In the kitchen, the refrigerator clicked on. The sound was too sudden. Art turned toward the hallway before he could stop himself. Lynn. He closed his mouth. The name stayed behind his teeth. He stood there a few seconds, one hand on the back of the chair. Then someone knocked. Not a neighbor knock, not delivery. 2 quick taps, a pause, then one more. Claire. Art looked at the canvas bag, still flat on the chair, and moved it to the counter before he went to the door. His daughter stood on the porch, holding 2 grocery bags against her hip, her phone pressed between her shoulder and ear. Her hair was pulled back, but loose pieces had escaped around her face. She wore office slacks and a pale blue blouse, the sleeves pushed up like she had been fighting the day since breakfast. I know, she was saying into the phone. Tell Dr. Abrams I'll call him back in 10. No, not 10 minutes. She gave Art a quick smile and lifted the grocery bags slightly, asking permission and announcing herself at the same time. He opened the door wider. Claire stepped in, still listening to the phone. Okay, text me if she gets there before I do. She ended the call and dropped the phone into her purse where it immediately buzzed again. Sorry, she said, I'd work as a circus. You say that like circuses don't have schedules. That got half a laugh from her. You eat lunch? Was about to. She glanced at the silent kitchen, the clean counter, the single mug by the sink. I brought some things. I have things. You have mustard, club crackers, and maybe eggs, if those are still eggs. They were eggs yesterday. Dad? He took one of the bags from her. It was heavier than it looked. Soup cans, bread, bananas, coffee. She had bought the good coffee, the one he only bought when it was on sale. Claire, I can shop. I know you can shop. She moved past him into the kitchen. This is not an accusation. This is bread. He let that stand. She began putting items away with the speed of someone who knew his kitchen, but not quite his habits anymore. The coffee went in the wrong cabinet. He did not correct her. Her phone buzzed again. She ignored it. That thing's going to drill a hole through your purse, he said. It can wait. He looked at her then. Claire rarely said that unless something else could not. She opened the refrigerator and frowned at the shelves. You need more protein. I'm 71. I'm not training for anything. You still need protein. Put it on a bumper sticker. She smiled, but it did not stay. Her gaze moved to the canvas bag on the counter, then to the newspaper, then to him. You went out this morning? Art took the loaf of bread from the bag and closed the twist tie. For a bit. Where? There it was. Not sharp, not yet, but placed carefully. Just around. Claire shut the refrigerator. Around where? Post office, he said. The post office on Speedway? He looked at her. There another one I should know about? She leaned back against the counter. I was just asking. You usually ask with a reason. Her face changed a little, not anger, something more cautious. Before she could answer, he reached into his back pocket for his wallet. What do I owe you for all this? Dad, no. I'm not running a tab with my own daughter. It's groceries. That costs money. So did raising me. That was a poor investment for several years. This time her laugh came easier, and for a second he thought the moment had passed. He opened his wallet. The bus pass slid forward with the bills. Bright, new, monthly. The corner caught on his thumb and flipped into view. Claire saw it. Art knew because her eyes stopped moving. She did not grab it. She did not ask right away. She finished folding the empty grocery bag too neatly and set it on the counter. That's new, she said. What is? The bus pass. He pushed it back with the cash. They expire. That's the nature of passes. You got a monthly one? Cheaper if you use it. How often are you using it? He looked down at the open wallet, then closed it. Some. Claire's phone buzzed from her purse. Neither of them looked at it. You've been taking the bus a lot? She asked. Better than driving all the time. You don't drive all the time. Exactly, because I take the bus. The answer was clean, too clean. He heard it as soon as it left him. Claire held his gaze longer than she normally did. Her work face had slipped, not gone, just lowered enough for him to see the worry behind it. Dad, she said, softer now, where do you go? The cooking show audience laughed in the living room. Art wished he had turned the TV off. He put the wallet back in his pocket and picked up the bread, though there was nowhere else to put it. Places. What places? He opened the correct cabinet this time and set the bread inside. Claire, I'm allowed to leave the house without filing a route plan. I didn't say you weren't. You're looking like you might. That landed. He saw it. A flicker of hurt, then defense. I'm trying to know what your days look like. My days look fine. She nodded once as if she had expected that exact sentence and disliked being right. Okay, she said. He turned from the cabinet. Okay? Okay. But she did not move. Her eyes dropped again, briefly, to the pocket where he had put the wallet. Then she picked up her purse. "I have to get back," she said. "I'll call you later." "You always do." He meant it lightly. Claire looked at him as if she was deciding whether to take the words at their surface. Then she came over and kissed his cheek. Quick, familiar, almost absent-minded, except today it was not. Today it was careful. At the door, she paused. "You'd tell me if you needed something, right?" Art rested one hand on the edge of the door. "Don't start making me old before lunch." She gave a small smile. "Too late." He smiled back. She left with her purse buzzing again. Art watched through the front window as she got into her car. She sat there a moment before starting it. Her head bent, but he could not tell whether she was checking her phone or just looking down. When she drove away, the house settled around him. He returned to the kitchen and took the wallet from his pocket. The bus pass came out easily this time. He placed it on the table beside the old grocery list. For a long moment, he stood over both of them. Milk, bananas, coffee filters. Route 16 monthly pass. The TV kept murmuring in the next room, cheerful and useless. Art touched the edge of the pass with one finger, then pulled his hand back as if it were something he had been caught stealing. No errands. Claire's car was already running when Ben came out of the house with his travel mug and a stack of papers under one arm. He stopped on the porch when he saw her still parked in the driveway. "You leaving?" he asked, "or just warming up the neighborhood?" Claire had her phone in one hand and a yellow sticky note pressed to the steering wheel with her thumb. "Route 16 westbound, 912. "I'm going to be late," she said. "For work? For everything?" Ben came down the steps. His tie was loose, his hair still damp from the shower. He taught high school history, and most mornings he looked like a man preparing to be disappointed by teenagers before lunch. He leaned beside her open window and looked at the sticky note. Claire turned it over. "That makes it less suspicious," he said. "I'm not doing anything suspicious." "Okay, I'm just checking something." "Did you ask him?" She kept her eyes on the garage door. "He'll say it's nothing." "Maybe it is nothing." "You didn't see his face yesterday?" Ben took a sip from his mug. "What face?" "The one he makes when he already decided what not to tell me." Ben was quiet for a moment. Claire hated that. His quiet was never empty. It waited for her to hear herself. "Claire," he said, "are you checking on your dad or are you following him?" She looked at him. "That's not fair." "I didn't say don't do it." "That's worse. I'm saying know what you're doing." Her phone buzzed. A message from work lit up the screen. "Can you approve the 10:30 reschedule?" Claire typed back, "Running late, family thing." Family thing. That could mean anything. It explained nothing. Ben shifted the papers under his arm. "Call me after? If there's anything to call about." He nodded, but he didn't look relieved. "Be careful with him." "He's 71, Ben. Careful is the point." "I meant the other kind." She rolled up the window before he could say more. At the corner, she almost turned toward the medical office out of habit. Her hand moved before she stopped it. Then she went the other way, toward the bus stop closest to her father's house. She told herself she might not even see him. She saw him after 8 minutes. Art stood under the bus sign with his canvas grocery bag folded flat against his side. Clean shirt, khaki pants, old brown belt, hair combed with water the way he had done her whole life. He looked like a man waiting to buy stamps, pick up a prescription, maybe get bananas because he had forgotten them yesterday. Something normal. That made it worse. Claire drove past without slowing. She parked at a gas station across the street and watched through the glare on her windshield. The bus came at 9:17. Her father climbed on. Claire waited until the bus pulled away, then merged behind 2 cars and followed. She felt foolish before the first traffic light. By the second, she felt sick. At Speedway, the bus stopped near the Walgreens. Art did not get off. That was fine. He had not said Walgreens. At the next stop, there was a grocery store, a Fry's. He had once told her he liked that one because the aisles were wide and nobody rushed him. The bus sighed to the curb. A woman got off with 2 reusable bags. A man got on with a case of water. Art stayed seated. Claire tightened her hands on the steering wheel. "Okay," she said out loud, "not that one." The bus moved on. It passed the pharmacy. Then the post office. Then the library. At each place, Claire gave him another chance in her mind. Maybe he was going farther today. Maybe he had a routine she didn't know. Maybe he was meeting someone. That last thought should have comforted her. It didn't. It opened another fear. That her father might have a whole life built around strangers because she had not made enough room in hers. Traffic slowed near a construction lane. Claire kept 2 cars between herself and the bus. She imagined explaining this to someone at work. "I followed my father because he bought a bus pass." No. "Because he lied about where he goes." No. "Because he looked lonely for 1 second, and I couldn't stop thinking about it." The bus turned toward the transit center. Claire's mouth went dry. Inside the bus, Art sat in his usual place, 3rd row on the right, and watched Tucson slide by through the window. The young driver from the day before was not there. This one was a woman with gray hair cut close at the neck and red sunglasses pushed on top of her head. She drove hard, braked late, and said morning like a warning. Art liked her. She didn't look in the mirror unless she had to. A man in a work shirt got on with a lunch cooler. Two college kids argued quietly over one pair of earbuds. Near Alvernon, a woman with a cane climbed aboard. She was not much older than Art, maybe not older at all, but she moved like every step had a price. A young woman in black leggings stood up for her. "Here, ma'am." The woman with the cane sat down and thanked her. The young woman did not look at Art. There was no reason she should have. He had a seat already. He didn't need help. Still, the moment caught in him in a small, stupid way. He was old enough to be counted with the people who needed kindness, but not visible enough to be chosen for it. He turned toward the window. A boy at a crosswalk bounced a basketball against the curb while waiting for the light. The ball hit the concrete, rose, hit again. Art counted without meaning to. 7, 8, 9. The bus pulled forward. At the transit center, almost everyone got off. Art stood with the others, not too fast. His knee had been stiff that morning, but he did not hold the rail longer than he needed to. He stepped down into the bright heat and adjusted his grip on the empty bag. He usually walked once around the bus bay before catching the same route back. A small circle, enough to make it feel like a choice. He checked the digital sign. Route 16 eastbound, 12 minutes. Good. Then he saw Claire's car. Not right away. First, he saw the sticker on the back window from his grandson's school. Then the small dent near the left taillight. The one Claire said had appeared in a parking lot and Ben said had appeared near their own trash cans. The car was parked across the bus bay, half in shade, badly positioned for someone who had a real reason to be there. Art stopped with one foot on the curb. For a few seconds, he only looked. Claire sat behind the wheel, both hands visible, not touching her phone. She stared straight ahead, as if not turning toward him meant she had not been caught. Art could have walked away. He could have gone to the next bay. He could have boarded the eastbound bus when it came and let her sit there with her shame. He could have pretended he never saw her. Instead, he crossed the street. Not fast, not slow, just a man crossing because he had business on the other side. Claire turned her head when he was halfway there. Her face changed, then tried to change back. Art came to the driver's side window and tapped once with his knuckle. She lowered it. Hot air moved between them. "You eat breakfast?" he asked. Claire stared at him. "What?" "Breakfast," Art said. "You look like you skipped it." "Dad? There's a diner 2 blocks over." "I'm not hungry." That wasn't the question. Her eyes shone in a way that annoyed him, because he had not given her permission to be hurt yet. He stepped back from the car. "Come on, you already drove all this way." The diner had laminated menus, thick white coffee mugs, and a waitress who called everyone Hun because names took too much time. The air smelled like bacon grease and burnt toast. Art chose a booth near the window. Claire slid in across from him, purse tight against her side like she might need to leave quickly. The waitress came over. "Coffee?" "Yes," Art said. Claire shook her head, then changed her mind. "Actually, yes, please." When the coffee came, Art added nothing. He stirred it anyway. Claire watched the spoon move. Neither of them picked up a menu. Outside, a bus passed. Not his route. Another bus, other people, other places. Claire put both hands around her mug. "How long?" Art looked up. "How long what?" She gave a small breath through her nose. Not quite a laugh. "Don't." He looked back at his coffee. "I'm drinking coffee with my daughter. I don't know what crime we're solving." "Dad." He hated the way she said it. Soft enough to be kind, firm enough to corner him. She leaned in a little. "How long have you been doing this?" "Taking the bus, riding around." "I don't ride around. I watched you." He stopped stirring. The spoon rested against the side of the mug, ticking once before it settled. Claire's face tightened as soon as she said it, as if she had hurt herself from the outside. Art picked up the spoon and placed it neatly on the napkin. "Well," he said, "that must have been an interesting morning." "I didn't know what else to do." "You could have gone to work." "That's not fair. Seems to be the sentence of the day." She looked down at her coffee. She had not taken a sip. "I saw you pass the grocery store," she said. "And the pharmacy, and the post office, and the library. A lot of sights in Tucson. Please don't do that." "Do what?" "Make jokes so I feel stupid for asking." Art leaned back. The vinyl seat gave a tired squeak under him. He could still end this lightly. He could tell her he liked not driving. He could say gas was expensive, parking was annoying, buses were better for the city. All true enough to stand for a minute. But she had followed him. That changed the size of the lie. "I like getting out," he said. Claire waited. "That's all." "That's not all. You know that now? I know you didn't go anywhere." He looked toward the window. A man outside was trying to light a cigarette in the wind. The lighter sparked, failed, sparked again. Claire's voice came smaller. "Do you do that every day?" No. The answer came too fast. Her eyes lifted. Most days, he said. She pressed her lips together. Art picked up his mug, drank, and burned his tongue. He set it down without reacting. Claire noticed anyway. She had always noticed pain when it came with proof. How long, she asked. He rubbed his thumb along the mug handle. Not that long. Dad. He looked at her then. What answer are you hoping for? She blinked. Because you've got one in mind, he said. Something small enough to be strange, but not bad. A couple weeks, maybe a month. Something you can scold me for and then fix. Her face went pale in a flat, quiet way. He wished he had not said that much. Across the diner, someone laughed too loudly. Plates clattered. The waitress called an order through the pass window. Claire's hand moved to her phone, then away. I'm not trying to scold you, she said. No? I'm trying to understand why my father's spending his mornings going nowhere. The word landed between them. Nowhere. Plain, ugly, correct. Art looked at the coffee. He had stirred it enough to make a pale ring on the surface. I had errands, he said. Today? Other days. Today you didn't. Today changed. Because I was watching, he did not answer. Claire sat back as if the booth had moved away from him by itself. Her eyes were wet now, but she kept them open. That was Claire. If she was going to cry, she made it earn its place. How long have you been doing this? She asked. Art's jaw tightened. What do you mean by this? He said, though he knew. Claire looked at him. Going nowhere. Art moved the spoon again. Once around the cup. Twice. You took time off work to follow me? He asked. Claire did not answer. She looked down at her coffee, untouched and cooling. The silence did the answering for both of them. The list. Claire set the folder on Art's kitchen table like it belonged there. Art noticed that first. Not the folder itself, though he didn't like that either. Navy blue, plastic, thick enough to mean she had not stopped at one idea. He noticed the way she placed it beside the salt shaker and Linda's old ceramic fruit bowl. Careful and official, as if his kitchen had become a place for appointments. You want coffee? He asked. I'm okay. You sure? You look like you've had too much already. Claire smiled too fast. Maybe one cup too many. She had come from work, or from pretending this was not part of work. Gray slacks, flat shoes, pale blouse, badge still clipped to her purse strap from the medical office. Her phone was face down on the table. Every few minutes it buzzed and moved a little, like it was trying to leave. Art stayed by the counter. Claire looked at the chair across from her. You can sit down. I know how chairs work. I didn't mean it like that. I know what you meant. She opened the folder. There were papers inside, printed pages, notes in blue pen, yellow highlights. A sticky note with a phone number and the name Angela written on it. Art looked at the papers, then at his daughter. What's all this? Just some options. For who? For you. The refrigerator hummed behind him. In the living room, the TV was on low. A weather reporter was talking about afternoon heat. Art had left it on before she came, as if a little noise could make the house seem less ready to be judged. Claire pulled out the first page. There's a senior center on Speedway, not a nursing home, she added quickly. Just a place. They have coffee in the mornings, cards, a walking group, a light exercise class. Art read the highlighted line. Gentle schwinn. Gentle movement, he said. That's just what they call it. What do they call sitting down after? Dad. I'm asking. She moved to the next page. There's also a transportation service. If you don't want to drive, they can take you to appointments or the grocery store, door to door. I take the bus. I know. The room changed a little. Claire kept looking at the paper. I mean, if you want something easier, more direct. I'm retired. Direct isn't as important as it used to be. She held the page a little tighter, then set it down. Art saw the effort in her face. She was trying not to push too hard, trying not to sound scared, trying to make all of this feel casual. But nobody highlighted casual. She slid another paper toward him. This one is an emergency alert device. You can wear it around your neck or on your wrist. If something happens, you press a button. I'm not wearing a button around my neck. They have wrist ones. I'm not wearing a panic watch either. It's not a panic watch. What is it then? It's just for emergencies. Then I'll call it an emergency watch. Claire closed her eyes for half a second. Can you please not turn everything into a joke? Can you please not turn everything into a product? That stopped her. The TV murmured from the other room. Art looked down at the page. A smiling man with gray hair gave a thumbs up beside a list of features. Water resistant. GPS, family notification. Family notification. He pushed the page back. Claire saw him read it. It doesn't have to be that one. It doesn't have to be anyone. I'm not saying you need all of this. You brought a folder. I brought information. You highlighted information. Because if I didn't, you wouldn't read it. He almost smiled because she was right. That was the unfair part. She knew him well enough to make a good argument. Then she pulled out one more page. And I made you an appointment with Dr. Keller next Thursday. Art looked at her. She looked back, then looked down. You made me an appointment. You're overdue. I have a doctor. Yes, that's why I called his office. You called my doctor? I didn't ask for private information. I just made an appointment. That's supposed to make it better? Dad, when was the last time you went? Recently enough? How recent is recently enough? He folded his arms on Claire. She stopped. Her phone buzzed again. She picked it up, checked the screen, then put it down harder than before. I called a few places, she said. Okay, I asked what they offer. I asked about cost. I asked about transportation. I asked what people do when they live alone and don't want to be treated like when... She cut herself off. Like what? Art asked. Like they can't take care of themselves. He kept still. She had come close to saying the real thing and stepped around it. He almost admired how neatly she did it. He tapped the folder with one finger. At what point in all those calls did you ask me what I wanted? Claire opened her mouth. No answer came. That was how he knew the question had landed. Not loud, not cruel, just placed where she could not step over it. I'm asking now, she said. No, Art said. You're presenting? That's not fair. You keep saying that. Because you keep saying things that make me sound like the bad guy. I didn't say bad guy. You're acting like I came here to take something from you. He looked at the folder. Didn't you? Her face changed. The air conditioner clicked on, lifting the corner of one brochure and letting it fall again. Claire sat down even though he had not. I saw you, Dad. He looked toward the living room. Don't, she said. Please don't look away like I'm being dramatic. I didn't say you were. You didn't have to. He rubbed his thumb along the edge of the counter. There was a small chip near the sink. Linda had wanted to replace the whole counter years ago. He had said he could patch it. He never had. After she died, fixing it felt like changing something without permission. Claire's voice softened. You rode the whole loop. He said nothing. You got off and got back on. That's allowed. I'm not talking about allowed. What are you talking about? I'm talking about you being alone all day and not telling me. There it was, close enough to the truth that he felt it before he could answer. Art turned and opened the cabinet. He took out a mug, then realized he did not want coffee. He put it back. He needed something to do with his hands and had chosen badly. I like getting out, he said. You said that. Still true. Then try the senior center for 1 week. He turned back. Claire leaned forward, encouraged by the fact that he had not said no fast enough. Just 1 week. If you hate it, fine. I'll stop bringing it up. No, you won't. I'll try to stop bringing it up. Despite himself, he gave her a look. She almost smiled. Almost. It's not a punishment, she said. It's coffee, people, something to do. I have things to do. Like what? He looked at her. She knew right away she had asked it wrong. I didn't mean it like that, she said. Yes, you did. No, I meant, you meant what fills a day if nobody is checking. Claire's face tightened. That is not what I meant. Art glanced past her into the dining room. The table still had 4 chairs. Only one ever moved. Linda's chair sat closest to the window. He had not sat in it since the funeral. On the sideboard, mail sat under a chipped paperweight from a trip to Santa Fe. The house had plenty of things in it. Too many, maybe. Still, some afternoons it felt empty enough to echo. Claire followed his gaze. Her expression softened in a way he hated. Don't look at my furniture like that, he said. Like what? Like it told on me. She sat back. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Claire gathered the papers into a neat stack, but she did not put them away. I'm scared, she said. Art looked at the folder. I know. That seemed to hurt her more than if he had argued. If you know, why are you fighting me on everything? Because scared people grab. I'm your daughter. That doesn't make it not grabbing. Her mouth pressed into a thin line. The phone buzzed again. She ignored it. This time, Art wished she would answer. I can't just let you ride the bus all day, she said. The words came out sharper than the rest. Not loud, but no longer careful. Art set both hands on the back of the kitchen chair. You don't let me do anything, Claire. She blinked. He heard the edge in his own voice. There was no taking it back now. That's not what I meant, she said. It's what you said. I meant I can't pretend I don't know. Then don't pretend. What am I supposed to do? He looked at the folder, the highlighted pages, the smiling older people printed in full color. Maybe start by not showing up with a folder for my life. It's not a folder for your life. What is it? It's help. No, he said quietly, clearly. It's what makes you feel better. Claire stood. Her eyes shone, but she did not cry. He was glad. He was also ashamed of being glad. I'm trying, she said. I know. Do you? Yes. You don't act like it. You don't either. She looked down at the folder. For a second, she seemed tired in a way that did not belong to work or kids or errands. Then she began putting the papers back. Fast now. The emergency alert page, the senior center schedule, the doctor appointment, the transportation service. One brochure slid loose and landed under the edge of Linda's fruit bowl. Claire did not see it. Art did. Independent and assisted living options. Clean blue letters. A photo of a courtyard with desert flowers. Two older women smiling over iced tea. Claire zipped the folder, then noticed where he was looking. Her hand moved toward the brochure, but Art put two fingers on it first. She stopped. I wasn't, she began. He looked up. She did not finish. For 1 second, neither of them pretended. Art slid the brochure out from under the fruit bowl and laid it flat on the table between them. Claire's eyes stayed on it. I haven't put you in charge of my life, he said. Her face went still. The phone buzzed again from the table. Neither of them reached for it. Claire picked up the folder with both hands. This time it did not look official. It looked heavy. I'll call you later, she said. Art did not say, you always do. He watched her leave. After the door closed, he stood in the kitchen for a long time. Then he turned off the TV. The silence came up right away. Art looked at the brochure on the table, still lying where Claire had not managed to take it back. Then he reached into his pocket, took out his bus pass, and placed it beside the brochure. Two small rectangles, two different ways of being sent somewhere. What safety means. Claire dropped the folder on the kitchen table hard enough that one of the kids' cereal bowls jumped. Ben looked up from the counter. He had one hand inside a lunch bag and the other on a stack of graded quizzes, his shirt still tucked only on one side. A blue tie hung loose around his neck. The kitchen smelled like peanut butter, cold coffee, and the reheated pasta their son had refused to eat the night before. That went well, he said. Claire shot him a look. I'm guessing, he added. She pulled out a chair and sat, then stood again. Sitting made her feel like she had agreed to talk. She was not ready to talk. She wanted to report the facts and have Ben understand them in the correct order. He is impossible, she said. Ben folded the lunch bag closed. Your father? No, the other 71-year-old man I spent my morning begging not to treat basic safety like a government plot. Ben set the lunch bag near the backpacks by the door. What happened? Claire opened the folder, then closed it again. I brought him options. Reasonable options. Okay. Senior center, transportation service, a checkup. One of those emergency alert things. Ben's face did not change, which irritated her more than if he had frowned. I didn't say he had to do all of it, she said. I didn't even say he had to do any of it today. I just wanted him to look. Did he? He made jokes. That sounds like Art. He made jokes so he wouldn't have to answer anything. Ben moved a plastic dinosaur off the table and set it on the windowsill. And then he acted like I was trying to take over his life. Ben did not answer quickly enough. Claire pointed at him. Don't. I didn't say anything. You were about to. I was about to ask if he used those words. She looked away. A brochure had slipped out of the folder when she dropped it. It lay partly under the cereal bowl, glossy and cheerful. Two older women smiled in a courtyard that looked too clean to be real. Ben noticed it. Claire snatched it up before he could touch it. That was just information. About assisted living? Independent living, technically. They have levels. He leaned back against the counter. Claire? What? His voice stayed even. That was Ben's worst weapon. He did not raise it. He made space around a question until she walked into it herself. You took him assisted living brochures? I took one brochure. With the senior center and the panic watch. It is not a panic watch. Right. I work in a medical office. I know what happens when people live alone and don't have systems. I see it all the time. Your dad isn't a patient. I know that. Do you? She closed the folder again. Don't talk to me like I'm being cruel. I'm not. You are. You're acting like I went over there to bully him. I think you went over there scared. She laughed once, sharp and humorless. Yes, Ben, I'm scared. My father is riding the bus for hours with no errands, no plan, no reason he will admit. He is alone in that house all day. If he falls, if he forgets something on the stove, if he... She stopped. The refrigerator hummed. Somewhere down the hall, their daughter's tablet started playing the first 3 seconds of a cartoon theme song before going silent again. Ben waited. Claire hated him a little for not rescuing her from the sentence. If something happens, she said, quieter, I'm the one who gets the call. Ben nodded, and I know. No, you don't. Not like that. You're right. That should have helped. It did not. Agreement gave her nothing to push against. She turned toward the sink and gripped the edge. There were 2 mugs in it, both with coffee rings. She had told the kids twice to rinse their cups. She almost said it out loud, grateful for a smaller problem. Ben came closer but did not touch her. Can I say something without you deciding I'm against you? Depends what it is. That's not how that works. Then probably not. He sighed through his nose. Are you trying to make him safe, or are you trying to make him easy to manage? Claire turned. The words hit too cleanly, too calmly, like he had set them down in the middle of the kitchen and expected her to step around them. That is such a teacher thing to say. Maybe. No, really, that's perfect. You get to stand there with your lunch bags and your essay questions and make it sound like I'm trying to organize him into a drawer. Are you? Her face went hot. He's my father. I know. He raised me. He fixed every broken thing in every apartment I ever lived in. He helped us when the dishwasher flooded. He picked up Lily from preschool for 6 months when my schedule changed. He never asks for anything, ever. And now I find out he's spending whole mornings going in circles on a bus. And I'm supposed to just, what? Respect his process? No. What then? Talk to him. I tried. No, Ben said, still gentle. And that gentleness made the no worse. You presented to him. Claire opened her mouth, then closed it. He nodded toward the folder. That's what you do at work. You assess risk, collect options, print paperwork, get signatures. That probably makes you good at your job. Don't! But he's not a case. She looked at the table. The folder sat there with its neat tabs and highlighted phone numbers. Her handwriting filled the margins. Accepts Medicare, shuttle, trial visit, monthly cost. She had written those notes at midnight, after the kids were asleep, after Ben had told her to come to bed twice. At the time, the work had felt like love. It still did. That was the problem. She did not know what else to do with love that scared her. Her phone rang. Both of them looked at it. Dad. Claire picked it up too fast. Hi. Ben watched her face arrange itself. Art's voice came through small and dry. You leave something here? Claire turned away from Ben. What? A brochure. She closed her eyes. Oh, I might have. Might have. It was just in the folder. Folders are tricky that way. She pressed 2 fingers to her forehead. Dad, I'm sorry if that upset you. I didn't mean, I'm not calling for that. She stopped. Ben, behind her, went still. Art said, you want it back? The kitchen seemed to narrow around the phone. Claire looked at the table where the brochure was no longer in the folder, no longer hidden. Of course he had it. Of course he had seen it. No, she said, then corrected herself. Yes, I can pick it up later. No rush. His voice was polite, too polite. Dad, she said, softer. I really am just trying to make sure you're okay. A pause. Then Art said, everything okay over there? Claire glanced back at Ben. He did not look away. Yeah, she said brightly. Everything's fine. Ben's just getting ready for school. Kids are being kids. Normal morning. The lie came out smooth because it was not fully a lie. That was the easiest kind. Art did not answer right away. She could hear something on his end. Maybe the TV, maybe nothing. Normal, he said. Yeah. All right. I'll call you later. You always do. The line clicked off. Claire lowered the phone. Ben said nothing. What? She snapped. I didn't say anything. You're thinking it. I am. Then say it. He took his mug from the counter, looked into it, and set it back down untouched. You changed your voice when he called. Everyone changes their voice on the phone. Not like that. She laughed, but it came out tired. So now I'm not allowed to sound normal? Claire, I cannot win with either of you. I'm not trying to win. No, you're trying to be decent. It's worse. For the first time, Ben's face tightened. Just a little. I'm trying to keep you from doing something you can't take back. She looked at the folder. The brochure Art still had felt larger than the whole kitchen. He won't listen if I ask, she said. Then don't force it. He'll say no to everything. Maybe he gets to. And if something happens? Ben did not have a quick answer. She saw that. It frightened her more than his questions. If he dies in that house and I knew something was wrong, she said, I don't get to comfort myself with, at least I respected his boundaries. Ben looked down. There, that was the truth she could stand behind. Not guilt, not control, responsibility. She picked up her phone again and searched the name from the brochure. Sonoran Vista Independent and Assisted Living. The website opened to the same clean courtyard, the same flowers, the same people smiling, in a way that suggested nobody ever misplaced their keys or cried in the laundry room. Ben saw the screen. Claire. I'm not moving him in. I didn't say you were. I'm just setting up a tour. That's not just... It's information. It's a trap if you don't tell him. She tapped the phone against her palm. If I tell him, he won't go. Ben stared at her. The words hung there, plain and ugly because they were true. He said, then you already know it's wrong. She looked at him, waiting for anger. It would have been easier if he gave her anger. She could have fought that, but Ben only looked sad. Her phone screen dimmed. She woke it with her thumb. I'm not letting him disappear because he's proud, she said. Ben's voice lowered. And you're not allowed to betray him because you're scared. Claire found the number anyway. Her thumb hovered over it. In her mind, she saw her father at the kitchen counter, hand resting on the back of the chair, acting like the chair was there for balance only because he had chosen to touch it. She saw the bus pulling away from the transit center. She saw herself in the parked car, caught and ashamed. She pressed call. Ben turned his face toward the window. The line rang twice before a woman answered, with a voice trained to sound warm. Sonar and Vista, this is Angela. How can I help you? Claire looked at the folder on the table, at the empty space where the brochure had been, at Ben's hand flat against the counter as if he were stopping himself from taking the phone. I'm calling about a tour, she said. At Art's house, the TV was off. The brochure lay on the kitchen table where Claire had left it behind, its bright courtyard flattened under the edge of his bus pass. Art had lined them up carefully. Independent and assisted living options. Route 16 monthly pass. He smoothed the brochure once with the side of his hand. Then he placed the salt shaker on top of both, not because they might blow away, but because he wanted them held down. The place with clean windows. Claire got to Art's house early. He saw her car pull up before she texted, before she came to the door, before she had time to pretend she had not been sitting outside thinking about what to say. The car idled at the curb, sunlight flashing off the windshield. Art stood behind the front curtain and waited. After a minute, Claire looked down at her phone. His phone buzzed on the small table by the door. Here. He picked it up, read the message, and put it back down. Then he opened the door. Claire looked up fast. She stepped out of the car with her purse already over her shoulder, keys in hand, smile ready. Hey, she said. Ready? For lunch? Yeah, I thought we'd try somewhere different. You said Marty's. I said maybe Marty's. He had not heard maybe, or maybe he had and had chosen not to. Claire wore a dark green blouse, nicer than lunch usually needed. Her hair was pulled back neatly. She had earrings on. Not the small ones she wore to work. The better ones. The ones for appointments, school meetings, dinners, where she wanted people to see she was handling things. Art locked the door behind him. Different how? He asked. Claire gave a quick laugh. Dad, it's lunch. Lunch has a name. You'll see. That was when he knew for sure. Not everything, not the place, not the plan, but enough. She was too bright, too ready. She had come prepared for him to resist something she had not yet named. He got into the car anyway. For the first few minutes, Claire talked too much. She talked about the weather, then about the kids. Lily had a science project due. Mason needed shoes because he had somehow outgrown the pair they bought 6 weeks ago. Ben had a parent night at school and would be late. Normal things, little things. She stacked them between herself and whatever she was really doing. Art watched the road. She did not take the turn toward Marty's. He waited. She turned south, then east, onto a cleaner street lined with medical offices, dental clinics, and low stucco buildings with desert plants arranged too neatly along the sidewalks. Art looked at her hands on the wheel. You missed the turn. For Marty's? For anywhere with decent eggs? She kept her eyes forward. I told you, we're trying somewhere different. What's it called? She did not answer right away. Claire. We're just gonna stop somewhere first. There it is. She let out a breath. Please don't start. I haven't started anything. You hear one thing you don't like and you shut down. I'm still sitting here. She gripped the wheel tighter. The car turned between two stone pillars. A blue sign stood beside a clean driveway. Sonar and Vista. Independent and assisted living. Art looked at the sign until the words stopped being words and became something placed in front of him. Claire parked near the entrance. The building was bright and neat. Too neat. Big clean windows, trimmed desert flowers, a small fountain near the door. Everything looked calm in the expensive way people built around trouble. Claire turned off the engine. We're just gonna look, she said quickly. That's all. Nobody is deciding anything. I just thought maybe if you saw it... You thought if I saw it after you drove me here without telling me, I'd be more agreeable? That is not what this is. What is it? It's information. Art looked at the building again. You keep using that word like it didn't come with a trap. Her face tightened. Before she could answer, the front doors opened. A woman in a navy blazer stepped out. She had a name tag, careful hair, and the kind of smile people used when their job was to make hard things sound easy. Claire saw her and went still. The woman walked toward them. Ms. Hayes, she called warmly. Art turned his head toward Claire. Claire's mouth opened, but no words came out fast enough. The woman reached the car. Hi, I'm Angela. We spoke on the phone. Art unbuckled his seatbelt. The click was small, but it cut through everything. Claire closed her eyes for half a second. Angela bent slightly to look into the car. And this must be Mr. Bennett. We're so happy to meet you. Mr. Bennett. She knew his name. Not because he had given it, not because he had agreed to anything, because Claire had called ahead. Claire had described him. Claire had made him into a file, a tour, an opening in someone else's schedule. He opened the door and got out. The heat came up from the pavement. His knee hurt when he stood, but he kept his hand off the car. Angela held out her hand. "Welcome to Sonoran Vista, Mr. Bennett." Art looked at her hand, then at Claire. "My daughter didn't mention we had an appointment," he said. Angela's smile slipped, only a little. Claire came around the front of the car. "Dad, I was going to explain." "When? Can we not do this in the parking lot? Where would you like to do it? Inside where they already know my name?" Angela lowered her hand. "I can give you 2 a minute." "That would be best," Art said. He said it politely. That made Claire look away. Angela walked back toward the entrance. The glass doors opened for her. Cool air came out, then disappeared when they closed again. Claire stood beside the car, keys still in her hand. "I didn't do this to hurt you," she said. "No, you did it because telling me the truth might have stopped you." "That's not fair. You said lunch. We were going to get lunch after. You said Marty's." "I said maybe Marty's." Art nodded. "Right. Dad, please. Please, I'm trying." He looked at the building. Through the front glass, he could see pale chairs, framed desert prints, a coffee station. A man in a cardigan sat with a newspaper folded on his lap. It was not an awful place. That bothered him. A bad place would have been easier to hate. "You brought me here to see where you could put me," Art said. Claire flinched. "No." "No? No, I brought you here so you would know your options." "Options I didn't ask for. You don't ask for anything." The words came out fast. Too fast. They both heard them. Claire swallowed. "I mean, you don't. You don't tell me when something is wrong. You don't tell me what you need. You don't tell me you're riding the bus for hours with no place to go." Art looked at her. Her eyes were wet now, but she was still trying to keep her voice steady. "I followed you because you wouldn't tell me," she said. "I made calls because you wouldn't talk. I came here because I don't know what else to do. You could have asked." "I did ask. You asked after you already decided what the answer should be." She looked down. A car pulled into a space across the lot. An older couple got out slowly. The woman adjusted her sun visor. The man waited beside her without touching her arm. They walked toward the entrance like they had agreed on where they were going. Art watched them because watching Claire was harder. Claire wiped under one eye with her thumb, angry at the tear before it could become a real one. "I'm scared," she said. "I know." "No, I don't think you do." Her voice cracked, and this time she did not fix it. "You're alone in that house. You don't answer questions. You make jokes. You ride around town like it's nothing. What if you fall? What if you leave the stove on? What if something happens and nobody knows until you get the call?" She stared at him. The words were sharp, he knew it. He let them stay there anyway. "I'm your daughter," she said. "I know what you are." "Then why are you acting like I'm some stranger trying to take your house?" "Because you brought me here without telling me. I was trying to get you through the door." "Exactly." Claire pressed both hands to her face, then dropped them. "I'm trying not to lose you." Art looked at the sign again. "Sonoran Vista. Clean windows, clean flowers, clean lie." "You already lost track of me," he said. Claire went pale. For a moment, he saw the little girl she had been after bad dreams, standing in the hallway, refusing to say she was scared because saying it made it real. He almost softened. Then he remembered Angela saying his name. "You didn't bring me to lunch," he said. "You brought me here to see where you could put me away and call it peace of mind." "Don't say that." "What do you want me to call it?" "I don't want you to be alone like this. You didn't know I was alone like this." "I know now. That's the part that scares you." She shook her head. "No." "Yes, Dad." "I've been living alone in that house for 2 years," he said. His voice was lower now. He did not raise it. He did not need to. "What scares you isn't that I'm lonely. What scares you is that now you know." Claire's mouth opened. Nothing came. He had said it. There was no place to put it back. The fountain kept running behind them, soft and useless. Claire whispered, "Why didn't you tell me?" Art looked down at his shoes. He had polished them before she came. For lunch, for Marty's, for the small pride of being taken somewhere by his daughter. "When?" he said. "Between your 10-minute calls and your grocery drop-offs?" She took that like a slap. He wished it had not landed so hard. He also knew he had aimed it. "I didn't mean to make you feel "No," he said. "Don't clean it up, not yet." She stopped. He looked past her, toward the shining windows, because her face was too much now. "Some days," he said, "I take the bus because if I stay in that house too long, I start talking to your mother like she's in the next room." Claire stopped moving. He looked at the pavement. "I know she's not there," he said. "Before you ask, I know that." "I wasn't going to ask." "You were." She looked down. At least she did not lie. The bus doesn't fix anything, he said. It's just noise, people getting on, people getting off. Somebody coughing, somebody talking too loud. Doors opening, brakes squealing. He looked back at her. For a while, I don't have to hear the house. Claire covered her mouth. Tears slipped between her fingers. Art could see what she wanted. Maybe she did not even know she wanted it. But he could see it. She wanted him to step in, to say it was all right, that she could not have known, that he should have told her, that she was doing her best. He had done that for her all her life, made hard things smaller before they reached her. He did not do it now. Claire lowered her hands. I'm sorry. Art nodded once. Not forgiveness, just proof he had hurt her. I'll take you home, she said. He walked to the car. Claire opened the front passenger door for him out of habit. Art paused. Then he opened the rear door and got in behind her. Claire stood there with the front door open, one hand still on the frame. In the mirror, after she started the car, he saw her look back at him. Only for a second. Art turned his face to the window. On the drive home, neither of them spoke. The last stop. Claire did not call the next day. Art noticed at 8:40 in the morning, when she would have been walking from the parking lot into the medical office with coffee in one hand and her phone already pressed to her ear. He noticed again at noon when she sometimes sent a picture of something one of the kids had left in the car. He noticed at 5:30 when work usually let her remember him. He did not call her either. The house kept going without them. The refrigerator clicked. The air conditioner pushed cool air through the vents. A truck backed up somewhere down the block and gave 3 sharp beeps before going quiet. Art made toast, burned one edge, scraped it over the sink, and ate it standing. On the kitchen table, the Sonoran Vista brochure still sat under the salt shaker. His bus pass lay beside it. He left both where they were. 2 mornings later, he put on a clean shirt and took Route 16. The bus sounded the same, brakes whining, doors folding open and shut. Someone near the back coughing into their elbow, a woman in scrubs balancing a paper cup on one knee while texting with both thumbs. Art sat in the 3rd row on the right. No one asked where he was going. That used to be the mercy of it. Now it felt like something else. At Grant Road, a man got on with a plastic bag full of prescription bottles. At the next stop, 2 teenagers climbed aboard laughing, then dropped into their seats and went quiet over the same phone. The driver took a corner too hard. A woman muttered, "Jesus," and everyone pretended not to hear. Art looked out the window. The city moved past in pieces. A tire shop, a faded mural, a church sign still advertising a pancake breakfast that had already happened. He knew the route well enough to feel, for the first time, how little the route knew him back. At the transit center, the bus sighed into the bay. "End of the line," the driver called. People stood. Bags rustled. A man dropped his transfer ticket and cursed softly before picking it up. Art waited until the aisle cleared. Outside, the heat had already sharpened. A digital sign flickered above the bay. Route 16 eastbound, 11 minutes. Art stood under it. 11 minutes had always been enough time to make the return trip feel like a separate choice. He could still do it. Step away. Walk the small loop past the vending machines. Come back. Board again. Sit in the same place. Let the engine and the voices carry him through another part of the day. No one would stop him. No one would know what it meant. The driver leaned out the open door. "You getting back on?" Art looked at the bus. The seat he had left was empty. His hand moved once toward his shirt pocket, where the pass sat flat against his chest. "No," he said. The driver waited as if the old man might have more to add. Art did not. "Suit yourself," the driver said, not unkindly. The doors closed. The bus pulled away. Art stayed at the curb until the taillights turned out of the lot. Then he walked toward the diner 2 blocks away. He did not feel brave. He felt like a man who had stepped off a curb and was still waiting for the ground to decide what it was. The diner was busy enough that no one cared he was alone. He ordered eggs he did not want and coffee he drank too hot. When the waitress brought the check, she placed it face down beside his mug. "You need anything else, hun?" Art shook his head. The word "hon" stayed after she left. Cheap and kind and not quite belonging. When he got home, Claire was on his porch. For one strange second, he thought he had imagined her there, because he had not known where else to put the thought of her. But she was real. She sat in the metal chair Linda had hated because it left marks on bare legs. A paper grocery bag rested near her feet. Not the blue folder, not a brochure, not a box with an emergency button inside. A plastic soup container showed through the top of the bag. Claire stood when she saw him coming up the walk. She looked as if she had slept badly and dressed anyway. Her hair was tied back, but not neatly. Her purse sat on the ground beside the chair. Her phone was tucked inside it. He noticed that. She had put it away on purpose. "Hi," she said. Art stopped at the bottom step. "You been waiting long?" "No." The corner of the paper bag had gone soft where the ice pack inside had sweated through. He took out his keys. Claire did not move toward the door. That was new. Usually her worry walked in before she did. "I brought soup," she said, then looked down at the bag. "I know. That's not... I just didn't want to come empty-handed." "You came with soup." "I did." He unlocked the door but did not open it all the way. The house waited behind him. Cool, dim, familiar. Claire touched the strap of her purse. "I'm not here to talk you into anything." He looked at her. She did not rush to fill the silence. It cost her. He could see that. Art stepped inside, left the door open, and set his keys on the small table by the entry. Then he came back and stood in the doorway. "You want to sit out here or come in?" Claire's mouth moved before any sound came. "Whatever you want." "That's not an answer." "No," she said, "it's not." He almost smiled. She came in. In the kitchen, she set the soup on the counter and did not open his cabinets, did not check the refrigerator, did not ask where the bowls were. She stood with her hands folded in front of her like a guest. Art took down 2 bowls. Claire watched him. "You don't have to feed me." "I know." He poured the soup into the bowls, heated them in the microwave, one at a time, and set one in front of her. Neither of them sat right away. Finally, she said, "I was wrong." Art looked at the spoon beside her bowl. About which part? The question was not cruel. It was exact. Claire accepted it that way. "About lying," she said, "about the tour, about thinking if I called it safety, it stopped being control." Art sat. Claire sat after him. She did not cry. He was grateful for that, in a way he would never say. They ate a few spoonfuls. The soup was too salty, store-bought. She had not tried to make herself look better by cooking. Art set his spoon down. "I'm not moving." Claire nodded, and "Okay, I mean it." "I know. And I'm not wearing one of those damn buttons." A corner of her mouth shifted. "Okay, you can worry," he said. "I'm not telling you not to worry." "I don't know how not to." "That's your business." She looked at him then. It hurt her. He had meant it to, a little. Not to punish her, just enough to leave the line where she could see it. He continued, "Sunday dinner." Claire blinked. "What?" "You come Sunday, 6 o'clock." Her face changed too quickly. Hope came in before she could stop it. Art held up one hand. "Not every Sunday if you can't. I'm not taking attendance. But when you say you're coming, you come. You don't send groceries, you don't send Ben. You don't call from the car and say you're sorry and ask if next week is better, unless next week is actually better." She looked down at her bowl. "You eat," he said. "You sit. You tell me if the kids are being impossible. I'll tell you if the roof leaks. That's it." "That's not it," Claire said quietly. "No," Art said, "but it's what I'm offering." Claire nodded once. Then again, "Okay, and don't come to check on me." "I don't know if I can separate that." "Try." She took that in without defending herself. When she left, she took the empty soup container, but not his dishes. He watched her stop herself from reaching for them. It was a small thing. Almost nothing. Still, it loosened something he had been holding hard. Sunday came hot and windless. Art made pot roast because it was what he remembered making when Claire was young and Linda wanted something that could survive everyone coming home at different times. He peeled carrots, cut potatoes, salted the meat. The house filled with a smell that belonged to another version of itself. 40, he set 2 places. 55, he turned off the oven. 0, no car. He stood at the window and told himself not to. 7, he took the plates from the cabinet. 12, he sat down without serving. 18, Claire's car turned onto the street too fast, then slowed in front of the house, as if speed could be hidden after the fact. Art stayed seated. The food sat covered on the stove. Not hot now. Warm, maybe, losing. A minute passed. Then the knock came. 2 taps, a pause, 1 more. Art looked at the door. He could let her knock again. He could let her feel it. He could call through the door and say dinner was at 6. A meaner man would have had several good choices. He stood. Claire was on the porch, breathing hard. Her hair had come loose on one side. No purse over her shoulder, no bag in her hands, no offering. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm late." Art looked past her. The car was empty. She had come alone. 18 minutes, he said. "I know." No explanation followed. No work emergency, no traffic, no child, no apology built around an excuse. Just the 2 words. Art stepped back and opened the door wider. In the kitchen, Claire saw the table and stopped. 2 plates, 2 glasses. Nothing fancy, nothing fixed for company. "Dinner's cold," he said. Claire nodded, her eyes stayed dry. "I know." He went to the stove and lifted the lid from the pot. Steam rose weakly, not enough to pretend. He could put it back in the oven. He could make it right. He could save the evening from its own small failure. Instead, he picked up the serving spoon. "Then we'll eat it cold," he said. Claire took the chair across from him. For a while, they ate without talking. The carrots had gone soft. The meat was dry at the edges. Outside, a bus passed somewhere beyond the neighborhood, close enough for Art to hear the brakes, but too far to see. Claire heard it too. He knew because her eyes lifted for half a second, then came back to her plate. She did not ask. He did not explain. The house was not full. It was not healed. It was not anything as clean as that. But there were two forks against two plates, and nobody reached for the microwave.